You want to go home?
This is Sandor Clegane, also known as the Hound. For the first 2 seasons, he is someone you're supposed to fear. He kills a child on the King's Road. He stands behind Joffrey like a weapon with a pulse. He threatens Sansa, mocks knights, and tells anyone who'll listen that killing is the sweetest thing there is. The show frames him as a monster, and most people believed it. But there's one scene in Season 2 that cracks the whole thing open. One moment where everything the Hound has been pretending to be falls apart, and you see the person he's been hiding for his entire life. And once you see it, every scene that comes after, Arya, the farmer, the burial, the final fight, all of it reads differently. To understand why that scene matters, you have to understand what made the Hound. We all know the story. When Sandor Clegane was about 6 years old, he found a toy that belonged to his older brother, Gregor. Sandor didn't steal it, he just played with it. And when Gregor found him, he didn't yell, he didn't hit him. He grabbed his little brother by the neck and shoved his face into a fire, held him there while the skin melted. It took 3 grown men to pull Gregor off, and their father told everyone the bedsheets caught fire. That's the origin story. Not of a villain, of a worldview. Sandor learned 2 things that day. First, that the people who are supposed to protect you won't. And second, that the world rewards monsters. Because Gregor, the boy who burned his brother's face off, grew up to become a knight. Anointed, respected, feared. The system didn't punish him, it promoted him. So Sandor made a decision. If knighthood is a lie, he won't play along. He refuses to be knighted. He refuses to use the title. He calls every knight a fraud and every oath a performance. And instead of pretending to be honorable in a dishonorable world, he does the opposite. He pretends to be cruel in a world that punishes kindness. If this kind of character, deep dive, is what brings you to YouTube, consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers and every single one helps. Now, let me show you the scene that proved everything the Hound said about himself was a lie. The Battle of the Blackwater, Season 2, Episode 9. King's Landing is under siege. Stannis Baratheon's fleet is bearing down on the city, and wildfire is turning the bay into a green inferno. Men are burning alive on the water, on the walls, on the beach, and the Hound, the most dangerous fighter on the Lannister side, freezes. Not because he's a coward, because fire is the one thing in the world that takes him back to being 6 years old, with his face pressed into the coals. Every other man on that battlefield is afraid of dying. The Hound is afraid of something worse, being that helpless child again. And then he does something no one expects. He doesn't just desert. He doesn't just walk off into the night. He tells Joffrey, the king he's sworn to protect, to go to hell. 3 words that undo years of obedience. And then he goes to Sansa's room.
I can take you with me. Take you to Winterfell.
Think about what's happening in this moment. The city is on fire. The Hound is in the middle of his worst nightmare. He has every reason to run, to save himself, to disappear. Instead, he finds the one person in King's Landing who has no one, and he offers to take her home. He offers to take her north to Winterfell. No ransom, no angle. Just a man standing in the middle of the thing he fears most, choosing to protect someone he doesn't have to protect. Sansa says no, and he leaves. But that scene tells you everything, because the Hound didn't become a different person at the Blackwater. He revealed who he always was. The cruelty, the cynicism, the snarling. It was armor, and the fire burned it off. After the Blackwater, the Hound is a fugitive. No king, no orders, no leash. And the person he ends up traveling with is the one character blunt enough to see through him, Arya Stark. Their journey together is one of the best stretches in the entire show because Arya treats him the way no one else dares to. She calls him out. She argues with him. She watches him kill and steal and justify it, and she doesn't look away. And in doing that, she forces him, and the audience, to confront the gap between what the Hound says and what the Hound does. He says he doesn't care about anyone, but he keeps Arya alive for months, through the Riverlands, through war zones, through encounters that could have killed them both. He says he doesn't believe in mercy, but when they find a dying man on the road, he explains what death is before he ends his suffering. He says the world is just meat and muscle, but when Arya is in danger, he fights like a man with something to lose. The most revealing moment comes at a farmer's house. A man and his daughter take them in, feed them, shelter them, pray for them, and the next morning, the Hound robs the farmer of his silver and beats him in front of his daughter. Arya calls him the worst person in the 7 Kingdoms, and the Hound doesn't argue. He just says the man is too weak to survive winter, and dead men don't need silver. It's an ugly moment. It's supposed to be. But pay attention to what he's really doing. He's justifying cruelty the way a person does when they know it's wrong. He's not indifferent. He's ashamed. And the shame is the proof that the Blackwater wasn't a one-time slip. The good person isn't going back inside. He's leaking out in every unguarded moment, and the Hound can't stop it. But cruelty has a cost. The Hound nearly dies after a brutal fight with Brienne of Tarth, and Arya leaves him bleeding under a tree. For a full season, he's gone. The audience assumes he's dead, but he isn't. A wandering septon finds him, carries him, nurses him back to health, and gives him something he's never had. A community with no violence, no hierarchy, no performance, just people building something. Together. The Hound chops wood. He eats with strangers. He exists in peace for what might be the first time in his life. It doesn't last. The congregation is slaughtered by outlaws while the Hound is away. And just like that, the world reminds him why he built the armor in the first place. But this time, he doesn't put it back on. He picks up an axe and goes hunting. Not as the Hound, but as Sandor Clegane. And then comes the scene that closes the circle. Traveling north with the Brotherhood, Sandor finds the farmhouse. The same one from seasons ago. The farmer and his daughter are dead. Bones on the floor, holding each other. They starved. He was right. Dead men don't need silver. But he's the reason they're dead. So, in the middle of the night, in frozen ground, Sandor digs 2 graves. Thoros wakes up and helps him. And when it's done, Sandor tries to say a prayer over the bodies. He can't remember the words. He stumbles, stops, and says the only honest thing he has.
You deserve better. Both of you.
That's the moment the transformation is complete. Not because he became someone new. Because he finally stopped pretending to be someone he wasn't. The man who robbed that farmer was performing cruelty to survive a cruel world. The man who buries him has decided to stop performing. And then there's the final scene. King's Landing is falling. The Red Keep is collapsing. Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, the brother who burned him, the reason for all of it, is standing right there. The Hound has waited his entire life for this. But before he goes, he turns to Arya and tells her to leave. He tells her not to follow him. He asks her if she wants to end up like him. It's the most selfless thing anyone does in the final season. A man walking into fire, his oldest fear, to finish something that started when he was 6 years old, but making sure the one person he cares about doesn't follow him down. The Hound dies. The way he lived, in fire, fighting the person who made him. But the villain died a long time ago. Back at the Blackwater, when the flames stripped everything away, and all that was left was a man with a scarred face, standing in a girl's doorway, offering to take her home. Westeros was full of men who called themselves knights and lords and protectors. Men in white cloaks who stood by while kings beat children. Men with titles who burned villages. Men who swore oaths they had no intention of keeping. The Hound never called himself any of those things. He called himself a killer and a dog. And yet he protected Sansa when no knight would. He kept Arya alive when no lord could. And he dug a grave for a stranger when no one was watching. He was never the villain. He was just the only one honest enough to wear the ugliness on the outside. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. See you next time.